Good day, welcome to the Travel Companion podcast, this week in sustainable travel. Special guest today, Courtenay Andy Harewood. He's in the studio in Chiswick. Known Courtenay for a long time, and today we will discuss 3 topics. The first one is Jeff Bezos, second one, Standard Charter, and the last one will be the fact that travelers are lukewarm with regards to sustainable travel action. If you would like to support the podcast, please go to our website, that's podcasts.earth, and then without further ado, here is the podcast with Courtenay Harewood. All right, we're here with Courtenay, who we had before talking about Guyana. Hi, Courtenay.
Hello there, Peter. Pleasure to be back.
It's good to have you. It's just a very short podcast. We're just talking about the latest news because Jeff Bezos, have you heard of him? Who's that?
Well, I could definitely do with knowing Jeff Bezos.
He's the richest man in the world, hey?
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Richer than the guy from Mexico, the guy who does, what's the telecommunication? What's his name again?
I forget his name, but there was another guy there in Mexico that did corn chupati, or not chupati.
Tequila. Not tequila.
Not tequila.
No.
The sort of corn derivative stuff.
Is it?
Yeah, that's a long time ago, though. But the telecoms guy, I have heard of him as well.
Yeah. I don't know what his name. I tried to reach him for the project that we worked on for the Sustainable Development Goals, but I never, ever got through, of course.
Now's the time.
Yeah, I saw something on LinkedIn talking about gender equality. What's that all about? Huh?
Well, I think that this is still a hot topic.
Okay.
It's had a strained history, from equal opportunities back in the 80s. But I think that diversity and inclusion.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's a good topic to have a look at how the society is functioning.
All right. Why is that interesting to you?
Well, for the Caribbean community after the evictions back to Jamaica, dare I say that term, evictions? It raises questions about how diversity and inclusion has actually evolved,
right,
since the the late 50s,
right,
and what it has meant to that community. But I think just broadly speaking, how the society actually functions.
Okay.
Who actually gets access to instruments to create wealth?
Mm-hmm.
What opportunities exist at the front end? What's the outcomes?
Right.
These are big questions.
A lot of people are talking about it, and obviously,
yeah. I think it's still a big topic. It's still worth having a look at, and gives you an idea of, how the human society, the people, are really living.
Fair enough. You want to change that, do you?
I'd like to change my situation. I'd like to be included.
You like to be included.
A little bit
Hence
more.
the inclusion. Okay, Jeff Bezos, Amazon, $10 billion, which is roughly 7.7 billion pounds. Seems like quite a lot of money, actually. And he said he's going to fight climate change. And there's a number of articles. BBC we have here. We have New York Times. We have Wired Magazine. They all have their opinion about this. And BBC says, well, how do you even spend $10 billion? Do you have any idea how to spend $10 billion?
Wow, I have a big list of things to do. Yeah, but I think it's interesting the way, I'm not a social scientist. For a moment in time, I was a historian. Things you learn about yours truly.
Oh, I've learned something today.
But certainly the way societies have evolved after the Second World War.
Uh-huh.
There has been a trend that money has, how can I put it, has moved dramatically into a very small space percentage-wise, and of which, rich people, Jeff Bezos occupies one of those chairs.
Yeah.
So I think in terms of if there's going to be a change, a real fundamental change and a progressive change, dare I say progressive?
You did say that, yeah.
This Trumpian age?
I don't know. Trumpian age, that's a new one as well. I have to Google that one. There we go.
If there's going to be, well, let's put it this way. If there's going to be a progression to another kind of society,
Mm-hmm.
where the adverse effects, if these adverse effects in the climate, aspects of the climate,
Mm-hmm.
are going to be changed, the resources of that 1%, where the resources have gone in the last 70 years, they obviously are going to play a part.
Yep.
It's not
Obviously, Bill Gates is doing a lot of good things with his money, isn't he?
absolutely. I think he has a part to play.
Eradicating smallpox, trying to
Absolutely.
do the same with polio.
Yeah.
And he's doing it all his own way as well. He's not relying on other organizations to do
Yep.
so, is he?
Yeah, I think that's, if you have an idea and you think you can make a difference, and a functioning and economically functioning community, is what you need in order to change things.
Yeah.
So Bezos is it how many millions? 10 million?
10 billion.
Billion.
Billion,
Oh my
not
gosh.
million, billion.
You see, I was
like Austin Powers.
I was gonna say.
Gazillion.
That's where I was stuck in that movie. 10 billion. No, that's not small change.
No, it's not bad, eh? Even though, according to Wired magazine, it is only 8% of his net worth at the moment. It's not that much. He's only giving away 8% of what he owns.
Well, it's a few sweeties to me too, but no, joking aside. 10 billion, I mean, it's a start.
It's good, isn't it?
It's a start.
Yeah, I think it's a good sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, if the other 1%ers have views, progressive views, did I say progressive?
You did say, yeah.
I did say progressive. But if the other 1%ers worldwide have views which are geared towards changing any negative impacts human activity has made on the planet, I think it's worth looking at. And you and I have talked about this. We could put some of that 10 billion to some good use.
We can indeed. We can indeed. Actually, there's a lot of people who think that. There's a lot of experts who say, well, you should really spend your money like this. According to BBC, there's an expert in environmental economics, Elizabeth Robinson from the University of Reading. Yeah, she suggests the money could be spent on persuading governments to stop funding fossil fuels, which obviously provide carbon dioxide and warm the planet. Do you think that someone like Jeff Bezos should listen to other people, or he should do his own thing just like Bill Gates is doing with his funds and is actually making a massive difference? Do you think he should listen to everyone that has an opinion, or just do his own thing?
Jeff Bezos clearly has strong ideas of his own. He does. I can't imagine that you could go from, I'm not sure if he went from 0 to 100 billion or whatever he owns.
He did too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, he has strong ideas then.
Yep.
I think there's nothing wrong in putting your money where your mouth is. Is that still an English phrase?
I have no clue. I'm not English.
We'll let you through the door. Come on.
I hope so. I hope I can stay, man.
No, but he's got strong ideas, and I think there's nothing wrong in listening. But at some point, you got to act.
He does.
You got to act. And,
He does. But some people say, New York Times, I don't know if it's very negative or not, but basically say that the Amazon employees were very agitated on climate change, and they pressed Amazon to be more aggressive in its climate goals, and they were staging walkouts. They were talking publicly about what the company was not doing, and they almost make a suggestion that Bezos did something because the pressure that was put onto him. Either way, it doesn't really matter as long as he does something, right?
Absolutely. I mean, he is responding to the general agitation in the global populations that there is something happening in the climate and on the planet that is not necessarily going to be good for our children and our grandchildren.
Yeah. How old is he?
My children?
No, Bezos.
Bezos. Oh, I think he's in better shape than I am. He must be at least in his 50s.
50s, right? Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, he's not got no hair, nothing, eh?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, I'm joining him soon with that.
Anyways, 8% of his net worth, and Wired magazine says there should be some money put into space-based solar power.
I like that one.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think that all the earthbound technologies have some problems in that, for example, with even with fossil. Let's talk about fossil, which is probably not one of the things that they're suggesting. No. But if you had, I remember since the 70s, and I'm that old now, but since the 70s,
that's a long time ago.
It's long enough.
Yeah.
They were talking about clean coal then, and I remember, coming to England from the Caribbean and seeing some very dirty buildings from the coal that was being burnt in this country.
Here?
Oh, yeah. They've cleaned it.
In London?
Oh, everywhere in England.
When was the 70s?
I came in early 70s, and I remembered buildings were literally black with soot.
Soot.
The offshoot of burning coal.
Really?
The dust and the...
I remember when I came here first time, around the same time, actually, end of the 70s, I think.
Right.
And I was coming from the tube, and I was here with my mom and my brothers.
Yeah.
And in the evening, my feet were like black. I was wearing shoes. I was like, come on, what's going on?
Yeah, it's a very dirty atmosphere in those days, and there was a certain smell you got off the coal. But they went through this period where they were talking about clean coal then.
Yeah.
And that made a big difference. Then they transitioned to gas, which I guess made a bigger difference, and they cleaned the buildings up and so on. But I think that if coal can be made clean without impacting, I don't know if it is possible, but if it can be made cleaner still, then it too can play a part. There's so much coal around, and a lot of countries. If you're going to monetize the whole idea of changing the energy systems, that's money, and there's a lot of countries that can't afford every system that comes with them. So the space-based systems are nice. I've heard about it. The fact that you can capture so much energy.
How do you get it back to Earth then?
I think you beam it down.
Beam it down. Like Scotty.
Like Scotty.
Beam me up, Scotty.
Yeah, beam it down. But what impact will the beaming down have?
I have no clue. Don't walk in the middle, I would say.
Don't walk in the middle of that beam. That's a good idea.
Then they talk about enhanced geothermal energy. I have no clue what that means.
Love geothermal, the idea of it.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
What is it?
Well, it's getting close to the heat of the heated water coming out of the Earth's surface.
Ah, okay.
And there are a number of hot zones worldwide. I remember in fact, I
Is
did
there one in Guyana by any chance?
Oh my God, you're talking about the heart of the matter. I think up the island chains where there's actually, I remember speaking to a volcanologist in Trinidad, and she said that it was possible to place these geothermal systems up the island chain.
Right.
And that could become a saleable product, to energize the North, the Americans, rather than simply fossil fuels, as in oil and gas.
Oh. And they haven't done that yet?
It hasn't happened because the Caribbean economies are structured a certain way where that kind of investment doesn't happen quickly.
All right.
But the thing is, the island chain is a volcanic line.
Uh-huh.
That's a fact. It's the same thing with Hawaii.
Yep.
If you think about Hawaii, I mean,
You think about volcanoes.
You think about volcanoes and not just hip lines moving in rhythmic,
No
pulsating moments.
Flowers and okay.
No, there are certain areas that really there's a natural line where you can tap into that natural energy.
Right.
It hasn't happened. Why it hasn't happened?
It costs money, I suppose.
It costs money.
A lot of money, before you get it back, I suppose. Right?
Yeah. And maybe the systems haven't evolved to enhance products yet.
Okay. They talk about nuclear reactors, small modular nuclear reactor. That doesn't sound right. When I think they say that, I think about Chernobyl.
It depends if it's fusion or fissile. I think.
You got me.
Well, I think fusion is the bombardment of the molecule to create the energy, which seems to be the clean option, in terms of fallout materials.
Right.
Fissile, I think, is the one where you have that we have currently, which has all of the discharges and the Chernobyl effect if things go wrong.
Doesn't sound right to me, that one.
Yeah, but they could have smaller packages.
Right.
At the moment, we have.
That's what they're saying. Small modular.
Yeah, and then you can link it together, I think, or something like that.
Right. So you get like a chain explosion at a certain point as opposed to one big one.
Something like that. I don't understand the technology fully. I'm waiting to learn. But I think you can link the energy system so that you'd have. I think of it purely like linking light switches. Right. So each can feed into the next and so on. And you could have smaller packages. You don't have to have a big substation at the bottom of your garden, like for example.
All right. And then they say hydrogen production, sustainable hydrogen.
Well, I've been waiting for this one almost for 10 years.
They have projects all over the world. Even in the Congo, they have this massive project going on. Still hasn't materialized.
No, there's not enough fuel to function as a solution for, let's say, cars. I think I've seen gas-converted cars in Trinidad.
Have you?
Yes, I have. In fact, I've ridden.
Converted into what?
Well, instead of oil or petrol, they roll on gas.
Right.
and very effective. And the guys said once they've converted the car, they save a lot of money.
Right.
And
Doesn't seem to be any better for the environment, huh?
gas,
gas is better.
Gas is cleaner.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean that was a big change in the 70s that I noticed.
Yeah.
You had the coal. There was coal everywhere. We had coal in the backyard in my house.
Right. You're lucky you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Had a certain charm about it, but that scraping
it explains a lot as well, hey?
Scraping out that coal in the morning and going out in that sub-zero temperature with my pajamas on, no. Let's not go back to that.
Right.
But the nice thing is that they've got, they're thinking about so many different types of systems.
Right.
Which is nice.
Yeah, which is nice. And they say that even if there's a small fraction of the funds, which is called the Earth Fund from Jeff Bezos, is put into these technologies, it would dramatically accelerate the deployment. And but what they say as well, and this is the negative part of it again, if Bezos really wants to start climate change, his own company might be the best place to start, because it pumps 44 million tons of carbon into the air each year from its delivery vehicles, data centers, and other indirect sources. So far more than Microsoft, far more than Google, and far more than Apple. But I believe that he also just made like a purchase of, I don't know how many vehicles that are like electrical trucks. So that's already a good start as well, isn't it?
That's a good start. He's thinking about it. I think, I mean, we, as you know, I had the opportunity to go to Stockholm.
Yeah.
To the new Microsoft European office there.
Yeah. Was it nice?
It was very good.
Was it very sustainable?
Very sustainable. They really were thinking about how to even interact with staff and to reduce their carbon footprint. There was a lot of good things about that building, and right in the center of the city, which was interesting as well.
And all the Nordic countries are going that way, aren't they?
Yeah. No, that was a great,
really pushing it that way.
Great project to see in as it was in use, and particularly where they can go with that in terms of advising other companies what they can achieve as well by going this route.
Right, inspiring.
Yeah, very inspiring. So what Bezos is doing and thinking about the vehicles he's using, his own footprint for the buildings he has, storing all that stuff.
Yeah.
That contributed to that.
Could only be good.
Could only be good.
Yeah, I think so too. So no negatives there. Yeah. Then other one here, Standard Chartered. Do you know that company?
Oh, I know them well. I've been tapping at the door of Standard Chartered
for many years.
Yes.
No, they committed $75 billion US dollars towards sustainable development goals. That doesn't mean they're actually giving that money away to other organizations or actually going to do something good with it directly, but they're providing project financing services for infrastructure that promotes sustainable development, and they're providing as well $35 billion for project financing services, advisory and debt structuring for renewables and clean tech projects. Obviously, to make a profit out of that at a certain point, which is not a bad thing, because that's the only way, actually, I think personally, it will go forward. If people actually make money from being more responsible, I'm sure you agree.
I do agree. I think that, my little bit of history that I can tap into right now, if you look at what was happening with horse and cart, or the horse-drawn carriage in the late 19th century with all that...
it's before my time.
Thank God. You look very good, though, if you were...
Cheers, man.
No, things change. New technologies come in, new problems and new solutions come in, of course. But first, we don't have as much horse shit on the streets as we used to. That's one thing.
Smells good.
It smells good. But I think that in terms of the new technologies, the fact that they are looking to actively invest and to make profits and to encourage investment in those areas, fantastic.
All good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so nothing wrong. I'm sure that every similar company is doing the same thing, because it seems to be the right area as well to make some profit as well at this at this stage. But it's certainly good that they make a commitment with regards to it, isn't it?
Yeah.
A series of commitments, I think it is, even according to the group head of corporate affairs, brand and marketing, that is Tracy McDermott. Said we made a series of commitments which are all geared towards supporting the Paris Agreement on climate change and transition to a cleaner, greener and fairer economy.
You can't argue with any of that. I mean, any kind of commitment that has all of those all of those commitment items on the board is welcomed.
Cool.
So.
Then they say talk is cheap. Travelers are lukewarm on sustainable travel. This is from Focus Wire. That did a survey. A lot of people care about it. They really want to say they really want to pay for it, and they really want to offset their emissions. But when it comes down to the nitty gritty, they actually don't do it. That makes sense as well, doesn't it?
It does. I think, though, there is an observation I have to make. I just recently flew back from Trinidad after visiting my children down there.
Yep, and Guyana.
Guyana and Trinidad. I was born in Guyana, but I have an apartment in Trinidad. And I can actually say that the actual mode of transport hasn't changed.
You fly, basically?
I fly, yeah. And I'm thinking,
there's no train to Trinidad, is there?
I was actually considering taking a
boat. You can take a boat. Yeah, you can take a boat. Take like 2 weeks or something. Or
there's nothing.
It would be nice, though, wouldn't it?
It would be nice. It would be nice. But I mean, what difference will that make?
Well, 2 weeks.
Instead of being crushed for about 10 hours, a total strain. No. I think that I've heard of solar planes, for example.
Yeah.
Where are they?
Or planes without windows.
Planes without windows.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. They say that's better for the environment.
Yeah.
More streamlined, I suppose, isn't it?
So the energy systems, there doesn't seem to be many big differences in the energy system that planes use.
Yeah.
I
don't think biofuels are very good either, to be honest with you, because if I understand, it's palm oil. They really have to look at electrical planes, which they're doing in Norway.
That's what I heard.
Just being to the Nordic countries, I'm sure you have heard of that.
Yeah.
So it's all...
But you remember when they were talking about 10, in fact, longer than that, 20 years ago, about ships returning, big ships. Yeah. I'm talking about cargo ships returning with a sail.
Right.
These modern, very futuristic sails.
Right.
I think some of them do use this technology.
Really?
Yeah. I think some of the Nordic countries, what's that big...
Hurtigruten. No, but that's more like cruise ships, though. But they have really sustainable cruise ships, from what I understand.
No, but I think Maersk Cargo is using some of these technologies.
Oh, really?
I may be wrong, but
so Maersk is becoming more sustainable.
We hope so. I know that
it's one of the biggest companies in the world.
I know. I would have loved to have involved them in my little project, but
sure. Maybe it still comes.
But they're thinking about it. That's the thing, and they're also talking about cleaner hulls.
Cleaner hulls.
Yeah, the bottom of the ship that impacts, that interacts with the water. They're talking about ways of even the paint that they use.
Right. Yeah.
All of these things. But I think that the public doesn't really get a sense of, if you're going to have to travel, there's more travel nowadays than there was 80 years ago, 100 years ago.
Yeah.
No way around that one.
And it's still growing.
And it's still growing, and it's a growing industry.
Well, but they say the growth is diminishing. So it means that it's still growing, but it's like the growth itself is like, obviously because of flight scam and whatever, people are not flying that much and not traveling as much, or thinking about traveling in their own country.
Yeah.
So it has an effect. But it has an effect only on the growth. It's not actually that people are traveling less. No.
Right.
The growth has diminished. So.
Well, the other thing I've noticed is that the hotels. I mean, I've stayed in a fair few hotels over the last 6 months.
Sure you are.
And I don't know what I didn't see a proliferation of solar roofs or recycled water.
I heard something as well the other day from a guy on the podcast here. He said he went to Morocco and the hotel was supposed to be like, certified and everything. And he came into the room and the lights were on, the TV was on, the air conditioning was on like a horrendous temperature.
Right.
And that's not very good, is it? And then he went out, he turned it all off and he went out and he came back and it was the same thing again.
Yeah.
That's not good.
I think the products that travelers consume have a big part to play, and I have to say I haven't seen much difference in that.
Yeah. So Prince Harry is having an eco conference. He's hosting that.
Okay.
Over the next 2 weeks in Scotland. Didn't know they were sustainable in Scotland.
Oh. I like Scotland.
I love Scotland. I love Scotland. I love the accent. Every time I call my bank and I don't understand a word of what they're saying, it's Halifax. I don't understand it.
I'm looking forward actually to the next major project I do in places like Glasgow.
Yeah.
I enjoyed myself there. Not only enjoyed it because they paid me more than They paid me south of the border, although that's a point worth making. No, it was nice people. You could see that people were thinking about the environment in Scotland. Even yeah, very much so.
Okay, yeah. I didn't know that. So other topics, we rush through this really quickly, really. Venice is planning to spy on tourists to control the numbers because of over-tourism. So they're going to intercept your data, telephone cells, and they know where people come from, how long they stay, where they go. Probably what they do in London as well. They've got cameras everywhere here.
Of course.
No difference, right?
No.
So it's all good.
No.
Next one, a female tourist arrested for wearing a bikini on the beach in the Maldives. We don't have a problem with that. We don't wear bikinis.
Not yet.
Not yet. All right. There we go.
No, but I hear about that one. I think that's just being sensitive to the underlying culture you're in.
Yeah, I think she should be more sensitive as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, the same as if you go to Spain, you can't wear no shirt on the streets either. You have to put a shirt on. And, same if you go to a restaurant, you have to put a shirt on. Yeah. I don't see a difference.
No.
To be honest with you. Next, is a passenger who insisted on taking a samurai sword on the plane as a carry-on. Have you ever done that?
I don't think there's anyone I could take a samurai sword to nowadays without feeling conspicuous.
Right. That's very sad.
Well, I could come up with a list, but I think that he was very brave to even think he could do it.
Yeah.
So.
Very smart. Some people take bombs on board as well. It's not very clever either.
That's not clever. No.
And the Chinese zookeeper was killed by a sexually aroused elephant. Have you ever had that?
Are you talking about me?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what can I say? No, that's unfortunate. Joking aside, I think that animals that are corralled and they're feeling a little frisky. Yeah, I can get a bit hairy sometimes.
Harry. Well, we talked about Harry already.
Harry's good man.
Yeah, Harry is doing
we like Harry.
eco summit in Scotland.
Yes.
Yeah.
We should go.
He's doing his best, isn't he?
Yeah, he's trying something.
He left for Canada. It's all good, isn't it?
I think whatever works for him and his loved one. I'm just waiting to see his next child, man.
Is it?
Yeah.
How many is he going to have?
I can't tell Harry what to do.
Oh, but he told you, no?
I wish he did tell me. I have two, but
I have two.
Yeah, well, Harry.
So it must be two then.
Yeah, it's got to be two.
It's got to be two, not one.
It's
got to be more than one.
If we get to Scotland, we have a word with Harry.
Yeah,
we'll get him round.
We'll tell him.
And if he ever decides to become an aroused elephant, we know we can warn him.
Run away.
Run away. Don't crush anybody. Yeah. No, sad to hear with that
zookeeper.
The zookeeper, it's not easy, and that's another.
It's not easy being a zookeeper.
With aroused elephants around, that's for sure. No, that industry also needs a little rationalizing. So
what, zoos?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't like zoos?
I've walked around a few of them, and I
think it's sad.
I think it's very sad. I do.
Yeah.
There has to be another.
You know what? I think it's better than people going on the seas and starting to, harass animals there or in the wild. To be honest with you, everyone just goes there. It's not good either, is it?
No, I think that they let you and me out on holiday to go to Trinidad and Guyana.
Yeah.
Let those animals
see the wildlife there.
Yeah, give them a chance. If they that part of the work that zoos do. I know this about sustainability and tourism and so on, but if they let the animal rotate them back into the wild once they've solved whatever problem they're trying to solve. I don't think you
mean
can,
from the zoos after they've done the animals to put them back in the.
I think
they just kill them, because there was there was something in Sweden or something like that where all the lions, there had too many of them or something like that. They just kill them off.
That's sad.
Well, you can't really put them back in the wild, can you?
Yeah, you can reintroduce them.
Yeah,
you can reintroduce them.
Cost a lot of money, I'm sure.
That's
they
the
probably
key.
think about the back pocket, right?
That's probably the problem. But to have a lion locked down in a cage all their life and then to dispatch them because you're bored or because
I think zoos are becoming much more sustainable. I don't know.
But maybe. But there's nothing quite like home.
Home? My home is not a zoo. What are you talking about?
No, I mean, I can remember even in Trinidad, I looked at the lions and I thought, oh.
You looked at the lions in Trinidad?
Yeah.
My God, what's the world coming to?
I know. I went in there. Yeah. I went once or twice with my children when they were small. I kept thinking, I do think those lions are not very happy down there.
I must say the zoo in Cape Town was very nice. They have all the different animals. They're all sponsored by businesses in the city. I thought they did really nice, actually. Yeah.
Are they jumping around? They look frisky.
Yeah, it was a little bit outside of the town as well, so they had more space and everything. I thought it was very... I haven't been to the London Zoo for like 30 years, so I wouldn't know that.
Right.
I've been here once, but that was a long time ago. And
yeah, I went to the one...
but I think they're becoming more sustainable as well, the zoos, aren't they? I don't know what they mean by that, first of all.
Well, that's another matter. But no, I'm just talking purely from the impact I felt looking into the eyes of those animals. You know, some of them didn't look very.
They actually looked you into the eyes.
They looked me in the eyes.
My
you know,
God, it's like almost like family now.
and these weren't feeling frisky. These ones were looking.
It was not an elephant which was horny, basically. Then, is it?
No. Yeah. These just look sad. They seemed like there was other places they'd rather be at this moment in time.
Cool. And on that point, thank you very much for being here.
My pleasure.
Cheers.
Take care.
So that was the podcast with Courtenay Harewood. Great to have him on the show. Fantastic to have him in the studio here in Chiswick. I will put all the links on the topics that we discussed in the show notes. Further info you can find on podcast.earth and atravelcompanion.com. You've been listening to Peter de Vries, and please tune in next time to A Travel Companion for the latest news on responsible travel.